Hello, I am Maarten Lano, and I'd like to present my art-based research project through this video. Keep in mind that I am a Dutch-speaking person who talks in English that will try to pronounce Finnish words and names, so some of the words will be a little bit off. My apologies in advance. It was hard choosing what kind of subject I wanted to cover. First I thought about looking into the religious art in Finland, because the Orthodox Church is different from what I'm used to. And a large amount of nature could also have a nice effect on the art. Then I wanted to talk more about Akseli Gallen-Kallela, a Finnish artist who was responsible for a lot of cultural artworks. I won't do my presentation about him, but he will come back a few times. Another idea was researching the modern art of Finland. Right before everything closed down because of coronavirus, I went to visit the art museum in Joensuu. There was a lot of Chinese art there, but the modern paintings on the ground floor really surprised me, especially the Catherine collection of Paul Osippo. But I wanted to go further. I wanted to go to the fundamentals of Finnish culture and look how it inspired later artists. So I did my research on the Kalevala. Every Finnish person will know what this means, but for the others, I'll try to give a bit more context. Finland was long under Swedish rule. It was part of the Swedish kingdom. Later, Russia took over. It was only in 1917 that Finland became its own independent nation. It became a European country. Note that this is a very simplified version of history. What preceded the independence was the growing nationalism of the people. In the 19th century, people in Finland were looking for their own identity and the culture that goes with it. And there started the Kalevala at the start of the 19th century. Simply put, the Kalevala is a book. It was created by Elias Lönnrot, but he did not really write it. What Lönnrot did was collecting all types of stories, songs and poems that already existed within the Finnish people. He arranged them so that all of it formed a fluent and complete story, and it became the base of Finnish culture. To understand it a bit even more, I found a Dutch version aimed for kids. Even though it was meant for children, it was quite hard to read. It was written very archaic and almost like a Bible. But it did give me an even more clear vision of the art that followed the Kalevala. When searching about the Kalevala, this painting is always the first to pop up. Sammon Puolastos, or in English, The Defense of the Sampo, is a painting from Akseli Gallen-Kallela. This was one of many paintings based on the Kalevala from Gallen-Kallela. It represents one of the main characters, Vainamoinen. He tries to defend the Sampo on a ship from the evil witch Louhi, who took the appearance of a giant bird. What the Sampo exactly is unknown, but he who has it can enjoy a prosperous life with good harvests. When this painting publicly released, it was seen as one of Gallen-Kallela's finest works, and I can see why. I especially enjoy the diagonal that is clearly visible. The spears are in the same line of Louhi and her warriors. This gives the whole painting a feeling of balance. What I do think is a bit weird is the flat feeling. The painter chose to add outlines to every shape, which makes everything a bit more cartoony in my opinion. That goes in contrast with the realistic muscles and fabric of the clothes that is found elsewhere in the painting. Some sources said that it was the sign of a new artistic period starting. In Asian countries, the flat style was becoming really popular at the time. Vainamoinen is here portrayed as an old man, but also as a fierce warrior. There is a heroic feeling about this. I can understand that early Finns got the courage from this painting. If you look at the background though, it's just two colors, yellow and bluish green. Not much detail and surroundings at all, what further implies the flat style. I do like the painting though. It looks fierce, revolutionary, and has a unique style. After a while, the painting started to live a life on its own. Many artists recreated the painting and added their own touch. Subjects like history, nationalism, socialism, criticism all were included in newer versions. Another Kalevala-based painting is Väinämöisen Soitto, painted by Robert Wilhelm Ekman in 1866. This and the last painting are somewhat created in the same era, but look so completely different. Here we see Väinämöinen playing the kantele, a typical Finnish instrument. According to the story, he got the snares from the hairs of the women. He was a beautiful singer, and the singing could even cause miracles. What immediately strikes me here is the classic style of painting. The light-skinned nude people really remind me of the Greek and Roman art style. It even has like these typical dramatic poses. When looking at Väinämöinen, he looks very realistic. He has this godlike composition in the center. The white focuses even more on his important status. It is so much different than the last painting. Then there are these women on a rainbow. At first I thought one of them was the girl that Väinämöinen wanted to impress, the one that gave him all the difficult tasks to complete. But looking more into it, they are just some godly women who like to look at a spectacle. Wilhelm Ekman liked to paint these air goddesses. I even found a painting where he portrayed another of these Ilmatar, the air goddess. There is not much to interpret here. The painter visualized one of Kalevala's stories in his own way. I do like it, but I feel like the godlike style does not really fit into the story. The painting is surprisingly large. To celebrate the 160th anniversary of the Kalevala, the painting had to move to an exposition. I'm not sure how they did not damage the painting, or at least some doors. But it's not all paintings. Carl Eanas Stoystrand made a bronze statue named Kullervo Talks to His Sword. I really tried to find the Finnish title, but I was not able to find it. I assume it would be the Finnish translation? First of all, the statue is found in the center of Helsinki. You could not get more close to the center of Finnish society than in the middle of the capital city. This shows again how integrated the Kalevala is in the Finnish culture. Back to the statue. It depicts a part of the story of Kullervo. Kullervo was a man born in misery. Everything always happened badly in his life. Once he accidentally married his long-lost sister, who promptly suicided because of that. Later he lost both his parents. He was truly cursed. After stubbornly going to battle and slaughter, he reflects on his sword. He asks himself, why was he destined to be cursed? Why would that happen to him? And I can feel the irony in this. The thing he asks for advice is a weapon of war, which is not a good advisor. This bronze statue shows his inner conflict. Kullervo really wants to be good, but he cannot figure out why he can't. I'd like to compare this statue to another image of Kullervo, one painted by, again, Akseli Gallen-Kallela. In his typical style he shows how Kullervo is in agony. There is much more movement going on here compared to the statue, but I feel like it's all superficial. If you take one glance at it, you've seen everything there is about it. A man who is angry. There's not much left to wonder about. I much prefer Sjöstrand's work because of the deeper thoughts that are inside Kullervo. You can really see the inner conflict that Kullervo goes through. I hope I made myself clear here. But not all works are from the 19th century. The stories age with the artists, and even modern renditions pop up every now and then. Take this small sculpture for example. Mariatta was made by the artist Virolainen. It is named after a character of the final chapter of the Kalevala. The Virgin Lady got pregnant by the eating of a berry. After 9 months, the baby boy was born. Immediately was clear how powerful and wise this newly born was. Väinämöinen was skeptical at first, but quickly realized that it was his time to go and make place for a new king. This depicts the start of Christianity in Finland. The picture in my Dutch book even placed a halo and a cross with the new sun. It cannot get more clear. But this statue makes it immediately clear how important the woman and her son are. Both of them have crowns, even in its berry form. I like the style of the statue. Virolainen is known for his straight, simplified humans. It gives me calmness and tranquility. This nicely fits into the feeling of something important to happen. And what's more important than the herder of all people being born? But this artist is not the only one who tried to keep the stories in art. Almost during the whole 20th century, Raija Uusakinen designed some plates that tell parts of stories of the Kalevala. Every year, a new plate design was added. This style is so interesting. They are rather modern artworks, but feel so classically northern. The thick lines and sideway humans really remind me of runes and Vikings, even though they are not really Finnish. Here I'll stop my search for Kalevala-based artworks. During my journey I've come across a lot more artworks, but that would be too much to show all here. I picked up the ones that I found most important and liked the most. People who don't know much about Finland and his art may have learned a thing or two. That will be it. Thank you for listening.